This podcast is hosted and sponsored by eXp Realty and Mike Nelson, Integrity Home Group.
Hey everyone, we're back with another awesome episode on our Real Estate Fanatics audio podcast and video. So if you have any questions about us, our guys will put our links down below so you can reach out to us. As you know, we'll always put our guests, tag them in the Facebook page. So if you want to go ask Bruce any questions, it'll all be there. So I'm super excited. Like, this is one of the coolest dudes that I've gotten the pleasure to work many years with in this profession. He looks like a young guy because he is a pretty young guy. Scruffy gray, salty, peppery kind of beard that I got going on here. So Bruce Karle is an amazing guy. He is one of the hardest working guys that I've seen in this industry, as presented by his pedigree or his accolades. Man, the guy is risen through the tops of KW, productivity coach, works on one of the larger teams in KW with Edie Waters, and I know they're powered by another big team as well. I'm sure you can talk a little bit about that. So anyways, Bruce is going to be talking a lot today about action, getting into action. What action should we be taking in this market, whether it's today's market, tomorrow's market? This guy is in the grind every day with hundreds of real estate agents and coaching them and working with them. So super into what's going on today. And I'm kind of super excited to hear what you got to tell us today, Bruce.
No, man, Mike, I appreciate it. And ditto. I was excited to see that email come up with this invitation. I think very highly of you too. And yeah, just to hit on a few things there, I've been doing this for about 8 years now. And, in that journey, if you will, I was that agent. Mike, I was that guy. I was the agent that thought I was doing all the right things, right? I heard take action. I thought I was taking the action. And I think that's been one of the biggest contributors to my success is honestly understanding what it means to take action in our world, in our real estate industry, right? I think taking action is, to people, it's just, it's a thought, right? They don't dive into it enough, further and further until they actually hone their craft, and their action will speak volumes if they start to do, right? This industry is all about do. If you're not doing it, you're going to die. But no, taking action in my world is kind of the separator. It's the defining line that I see between different agents in our profession. I know you see it in your role. I see it in my role every day. You get somebody that comes in. I don't care how good of a game you talk. I don't care how much you impress me. I just care about the next 90 days, right? Yeah, I don't care at all. So action for me is getting down and dirty, meaning take action, go fumble and fail forward every single time you try something new. You don't have to be the master of everything when you first start, just go do and try. The agents that I coached, myself, when I finally decided to get into action is when all of this success started happening. And I think, getting into action is also a mindset shift. I think that as a real estate agent, when we think about getting into action, a lot of people go straight to, obviously, lead generation, but they go straight to lead generation for the sale. And really what action is taking the necessary steps daily, weekly, hourly, minute by minute. I don't care how you want to define it, but taking that action step by step and not worrying about the outcomes. The success comes from the mundane. If I'm sitting there continuing to do my activities every single day and all I'm focused on is what those activities will bring me down the road, I'm focused on the wrong things. I literally just lost focus of the activities that I'm sitting there in front of me. And so taking and focusing on the actions every single day that are necessary, then the sales become a byproduct of that action. You don't have to think about it. You just trust that if I do X, Y, and Z, I will have A, B, and C down the road.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a big believer in, all of us as humans are impatient. We want results tomorrow based on the first action that we took. And I really try to hammer home, look, it's improvement every day. No matter how small it is, improve every day, inch by inch. And that inch by inch over the long haul is what gets you there.
Bingo. And once you start to see that the methodical action takes place over time and it becomes reoccurring, you get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Let's face it. I think one of the biggest things that, to your point, where people want the success right off the rip from trying something one time or doing something for one day, they want to know and validate to themselves internally that what they're doing is working. When in the reality of things is if you're just starting off, or let's say you've been in the industry for 5 or 10 years, but you've really just kind of been winging your job, and you're now focused on making this job a career, you kind of got to think back to everything you've ever done in life. Whenever you start something, you have to give yourself some time to master it. And I don't think we ever give ourselves time, right? So when I help people, when I coach and train, I always use these analogies, right? Think about a kid riding the bike. See, what you just told me, Mr. or Mrs. whoever I'm interacting with, you just wanted to go do something and receive results instantaneously. But if you put your kid who's 4, 5, 6 years old on a bicycle and tell them to go ride it without training wheels or anything, do you think that they'd be able to accomplish that? And the answer is always no. Of course, they got to train. I got to show them what a bike. Okay, well then don't do that to yourself in real estate.
Absolutely. And I look at things as like, even just, I don't know why this came into my head, but it's like compounding interest. Like if I tell you at 20 years old to put $1 in the bank every single day that has compounding interest, after 30 days, you're gonna be like, well, this is stupid. I got 30 freaking dollars. Look at it in 30 years at doing $1. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Is you gotta believe in the long term of what you're doing. And I know it's hard because you're not seeing that paycheck, especially in our business. So it gets tight, it gets lean, and you're like, is this really working? And I know I was in that boat my first 9 months, and I think most of us were right when we got into the business.
I'm a 9-month guy too. I didn't actually start doing the activities until about 9 months in.
Yeah.
Told myself every single day I was doing the right things, but I wasn't. I was just trying to convince myself.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Well, I know like your biggest experience is like taking agents and taking them from level A to level Z, right? So I know that's a passion of yours. You have a lot of success behind doing that. Well, is that kind of just really what it boils down to? Is I know like John Cheplack is kind of a big coach that I listen to. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he's like a really in your face, like no BS guy. And he wrote something up the other day on Facebook that I thought was really important was, hey, the last 2 years, like you talked yourself out of having to pick up the phone. You talked yourself into cold calls don't work. You talked yourself into door knocking doesn't work, right? You bought into those things. Well, guess what's coming? Those things are coming back. And those agents that are going to really get in and work and not lean on the last 2 years are going to be the ones that take massive freaking market share in the next few years, as opposed to those that are just laying back like, I got this. I'm good. The last 2 years is good. I'm good.
Bingo. You couldn't have said it better, man. Exactly. I think these last 2 years have really caused people to get into bad habits. I don't think anybody really ever, doesn't have habits. We all have habits. It's just which habits allow us to get past this guy right here. And I think that's what a lot of agents are going to run into in the next couple of months.
That's what we talk about
the year,
right? Our egos are going to get in the way. Like, my past clients are going to call me, right? All these things are going to happen. I'm just going to wait for the phone to ring. And he's like, that ain't happen. I mean, it will happen, but not to the level that you want to take market share to. You got to get back out there. Things that I'm trying to push our team is go back to being a first-year agent. How hungry were you then? How hard do you show up every day? I know the last few years has been great, and you're 3 or 4 year agent into our business. But what you have to do in the next year or two looks almost like your first year in real estate again. And it's just because we get comfortable. We're like, hey, we did 35 deals last year. I can kind of sit on Gravy Street this year. Nope, you might as well go back to being a new agent mindset because that's what you need.
Yeah, and even if your phone does ring, let's say your sphere of influence does call you, you better be ready to talk about the market, because in the last couple of years, you really haven't even had to practice how to talk about the market. You just say, yeah, we can do that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Yeah, we can do that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and it'll sell. Now you're going to have your sphere of influence, who you're banking on calling you, come over to actually have a business conversation, and you're not going to be able to know what to say. You're not going to be able to know what to do. And I'm afraid agents are going to actually end up losing some of their sphere of influence members because they're going to drop the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the big thing is like we've gotten out of the practice of honing our skills. I mean, I think that's essentially what you're saying, right? Is like we can almost just walk in the door, get a contract signed, list it, sell it. Really didn't have to negotiate, really didn't have to do anything. It just kind of did its own thing. Buyers were just throwing everything you wanted at you as a seller. The negotiations are coming back. Houses sitting on the market a little while are coming back. Having price conversations on the front end and pricing it right is coming back. Expireds are coming back for those that want to do that work, right? Now we're going to be able to pick up some expireds with the skilled people. because their client's going to be pissed off that the previous agent wasn't skilled and didn't have the right expectations on prices. So there's an opportunity for everybody in this market, and that's honestly what I'm happy about and excited about. Is I don't look at this as a tough market. I look at this as there's going to be a lot of subpar potential agents that just tee it up for me and my team, because we're going to come in skilled and go, hey, I'm sorry that didn't work out with you for the last person, but we're not those people. Here's what we'll do. And we're going to.
Exactly. Yep. I'm so excited too, man. I actually do not believe that this market is going to cause me to do more work. I'm just going to have to continue to stay intentional, right? I'm going to toot my own horn for just a second, and I don't really do that. But in these last 2 years, I haven't stopped coming into the office. I haven't stopped making my phone calls. And I think one of the biggest reasons for me and just my past, Mike, is when I first started, it took me 9 months before I really started doing the job. And even when I started doing the job, my business was a big roller coaster. A lot of production, no production. A lot of production, no production. And that just comes from when I had a lot of production, I'd give myself the grace to not have to lead generator or, be effective. Instead of making my quarterly calls to my database, it was, let's go grab a beer, let's go hang out, let's go shoot the shit. Yeah. And through these last couple of years, I'm in the office every single day. I'm making my quarterly calls. Even though the world has had some things go on, my world can't have things go on, because the last thing I ever want, Bruce will get out of the industry if my business continues to do this. And I stopped that. I nipped that in the bud year one. Now my business goes like this.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm in the office every day, making my calls, doing the right things, right? Just like what you and your team do and what you preach and what you got. That's why I'm on this with you, man. I have a high I don't know, man. I think of you very highly because of that. That discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
And it's so important that agents, if you're out there listening, if you have not gotten into those habits, get in now before the market really does make it hard for you. Because people like me and Mike, we're ready for this market because we know it's going to be easy.
Yep.
Because we've been disciplined throughout the time that it was gravy. And so our lives aren't going to change that much. The only thing that's going to change for us is the dialogue we have around talking with new agents.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? We built, and yourself included, those strong agents built foundations, and they didn't just kind of jump on the gravy train. Like, they hustled every day. Maybe we didn't hustle as hard the last couple of years. However, we still foundationally hustled more than most. And now it's time to recognize that we're going to have to hustle, right? And I think one thing I always loved about you, Bruce, is, dude, your coaching around mindset is like one of the coolest skills that you've acquired. And man, dude, you can get people into action more than I can see most, just because you're really good at that mindset piece.
No BS, man. Can't have a filter through this. Otherwise it changes that thing. No, I love mindset.
Yeah, I love John Cheplack, man. He'll just get up on stage and just be like, you all suck, you all know it, and here's how you're going to get better.
That's me. I got to say it with a little bit of delicate nature.
Yeah,
then,
yeah, he does it, and he drops a few F-bombs in the mix of that too. So he just does good. He has no filter.
Good. That sounds like my type of guy.
All right, brother. Well, hey, thanks everybody. Bruce, I appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your busy day. I know you coach a ton of people. We're going to, again, put this on Bruce's Facebook page when this rolls out. So reach out to him if you got any questions. KW, reach out to him. Reach out to him if you have any coaching type mentoring questions, any of that stuff, reach out to him. Same thing with me. I'll have my Calendly link down below, so you can just schedule on my calendar if you want to chat about me with anything, even if it's EXP, if it's just business as a whole, it really doesn't matter. Just reach out to either one of us, talk about anything you want to talk about. Bruce has always got an open door. And, I'm super proud of what you've done, Bruce. And you guys are running a great ship over there at that KW office. And I'm super excited about what you got going in your path, brother.
Likewise, Mike. Thanks for having me, brother.
See you, man.
Appreciate it. Later.